This is Dr. K. Shivaya. So, as per your syllabus, our next topic is a basic metabolic rate. So, these are the contents of the basic metabolic rate. If you take in the basic metabolic rate, basic or basal, the food is the fuel source of the food. The ingested food undergoes metabolism to liberate energy required for the vital activities of the body. The minimum energy required for the body to function in the body. So that is the basal. So the minimum is here the basal for to functionizing the metabolism. That metabolism we can also discuss earlier class, that is catabolism and anabolism. So both functions required the minimum energy for that required minimum food. So that is a basal metabolic rate in the time, either 1 day or 2 days. So whatever amount if you taken after digestion, after absorption, and within a time how it is utilized, that whatever the absorbed food, the man consumes energy to meet the fuel demands of the three ongoing processes in the body. So every man and woman taking the food for what purpose? For first basal metabolic rate, to functionizing the our body first. And dynamic actions, if you want to do extra activities, suppose if you take any job or any, and physical activity, exercises. So these are the the three ongoing processes in the body. Physical activity means physical exercise. So minimum amount of energy required by the body to maintain life, to complete physical and mental rest in post-absorptive state. The meaning here, whatever you take in food, that food digestion process, after digestion absorption, after absorption how it is utilized by the cells, the entire state what we can call as a absorptive state. See, if you take several functions within the body occurs at basal conditions. So what are the basal? The minimum work needed for the body. So what is the working of heart and other organs, conduction of nerve impulse, reabsorption by renal tubules, GI motility, ion transport across membranes. So many the minimum functioning in our body. So these are the examples. So measurement of BMR. So some apparatus is there, it is not required for you, but it is for just simply we have to know. So Benedict-Roth, this is a closed circuit device. So they performed, this is a Benedict-Roth method. So whatever it is, they can observe the how much of energy utilized, how much of oxygen utilized. So finally that one only, and how much of heat produced. So these three they can measure in this equipment. So here, so the volume of oxygen consumed by the subject for a period of 2 to 6 minutes under basal condition is determined. The standard calorific values of 1 liter of oxygen consumed, this one. So heat produced in 6 minutes and heat produced in 1 hour and the body surface. So these are the taken the parameters during the measurement of basal metabolic rate in the Benedict-Roth method. So you can calculate it. These are the normal values. Adult man 35 to 38 calories per square meter for 1 hour, or per day if you take in 1600 calories per day. In women if you take it this value, so 1400 calories per day. So the basal metabolic rate values between 15 and plus 20% is considered a normal. So either so apart from these 1600, either 15% either increases or decreases. So these are the values, the basal metabolic in men as per the height. Because of when the height increases, the surface area increases, then automatically basal metabolic rate increases, then automatically the value of increases. So the values. Next, factors affecting the basal metabolic rate. So mainly the surface area. Just now I said that when the height increases, then automatically basal metabolic rate increases. When the height increases, automatically the surface area of the organs in our body increases. That's why. Sex. Men have the marginally high minimum basal metabolic 5%. Because of if you compare the male and female, automatically the men's are either a surface, either organs levels, they are more. So that's why. So automatically the 5% more when compared with the female. In infants and growing children, basal metabolic rate is higher. In an adults, basal metabolic rate decrease at the rate of 2% for decade of life. See, in infants, the basal metabolic rate, because of the cell division is more, and also the hormones and development is more in the in child. When after 10 years, if you take in 10 years, then after 20 years, then after 30 years, after 40 years, after 50 years, every 10 years, 2% of basal metabolic rate decreases. Basal metabolic rate decreases. So physical activity increases with regular. So if you are doing the daily exercise from the childhood to, then automatically increases the basal. So there is no possibility of decrease of basal metabolic rate decreases as per the age, because of if you are doing the regular exercise, your all organs are continuous working with the minimum physical activity. If the organ is doing the everyday minimum physical activity, then automatically the basal metabolic rate increases itself of the organ. If you are doing daily exercise, then automatically it will develop. So that is the thing. So environmental is so environment also affect the basal metabolic rate. So you know is in cold climates compared to warm climates, especially the difference is compulsory, it will be there in cold climates and warm climates. If you take starvation, during the starvation, a decrease in the basal metabolic up to 50% has been reported. Starvation means the when the nutrients levels decrease and water levels decreases, we can call it as a starvation. When this decreases, then automatically the basal metabolic rate decreases. So fever, but fever increases, the basal metabolic rate 10% increases every 1 degree centigrade body. See, already we discussed environment. When cold condition, basal metabolic means in winter, automatically the basal metabolic decreases. In summer, basal metabolic rate increases. In fever, when the body temperature increases also, so that is a 10% increase in basal metabolic rate. This is so how the BMR we can find out the, so BMR elevated in infections. So disease status also we can know about the basal metabolic rate. So depending upon the basal metabolic rate, we can know about the some disease conditions also, infections, so leukemia, cardiac failure, hypertension, some other diseases also. So finally, what is the significance is important to calculate the caloric requirement of the individual and the planning of diet. It is important. Assessment of thyroid functions is below normal in basic metabolic is below normal in starvation under the nutrition addition, in this cases is low. is above normal in fever, diabetes, insipidus, leukemia and polycythemia and other diseases condition it is increases. So, these are the regarding about the basal metabolic rate. So, these are the references if you want to read, and also we can search the net also. This is a thank you. Next we can go for the respiratory system. See the respiratory system. Here the re means again and again, recycle. So the cycle again and again. Re means again and again. Spiration means inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So these inhale and exhale is the continuous cycle and continuous successive cycle. That's why it is a respiration. So for that respiration in our body have these some systems, some organs collectively we can call as a respiratory system. That is respiratory system. So respiratory system is an oxygen delivery system because of it is mainly for the function to deliver the oxygen to our body. So is the set of organs that allows a person to breathe and exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide throughout the body. So the respiration performs two major tasks: external respiration and internal respiration. See the external respiration exchange gas or air between body and the outside of the environment known as external respiration. So the gas is between the environment and body. Here the internal respiration exchange of gas between the cells and blood. So the bringing of oxygen to the cells and removing the carbon dioxide from the referred to as internal respiratory system. So here also we can also the exchange of gases between the blood vessels and cells present in the tissue of the organ. Also we can also say that internal respiration. So this is what are the main respiratory organs: nose, and after that nose. So we can discuss each and every part of bronchial tubules, lungs, diaphragm. The functions of respiratory system. The major functions: supply the body with oxygen and dispose of carbon dioxide, filters inspired air. So how it is filters we can discuss. Produces sound, contains receptors for smell, rid the body of some excess water and heat, helps regulate the blood pH and breathing. And breathing consists of two cyclic processes: inhalation and exhalation. How it is processed we can discuss. So external respiration, air from the outside environment, it's already we discussed. So the external respiration, if you taken the what is it is composed. So nose, nasal cavity, paranasal sinus, pharynx, larynx, conducting portion of the external part of the respiratory system. So this is the parts of the nose. First, if you take in the nose, the internal nares or nostrils. Internal nares also we can call as nostrils opening into the exterior. This is the internal nostrils here presented. The external pharynx. So suppose this you can take it. It's a little bit. Okay. External nares opening into the pharynx. So nares opening into the pharynx. The nasal conch folds in the mucous membrane that increases the air turbulence and ensures that most air contains the mucous membrane. So one more we have See, the nasal concha folds in the mucous membrane that increases the air turbulence and ensures that most air contacts the mucous membrane. See, the concas, if you taken, so these are the concas, actually three concas, superior, middle and inferior. Three concas present, three concas make turbulence. So, the automatically the sound variation takes place. So, lining of nose, if you taken a lining the nose, so rich supply of capillaries form the inspired air. So, it have the more number of blood capillaries. So, blood automatically it is warm in nature, then automatically the inspired air also warm. Olfactory mucosa, mucous membrane that contains smell receptors. The respiratory mucosa, so pseudo stratified, especially the ciliated columnar epithelium contain goblet cells that secretes mucus which helps the inhaled particles. Okay, so the respiratory system, if you taken from the pharynx, larynx, trachea, the mucous membrane it is made up of ciliated columnar epithelium tissue that contains goblet cells. That goblet cells secretes the mucus. So, in that also it contains lysozyme. So, lysozyme kills bacteria and the lymphocytes also present. These lymphocytes engulf the bacteria or any dust particles. So, some immunoglobulin A antibodies present that protect the against bacteria. And paranasal sinuses. So, here the para means parallel, means sarisamananga, nasal sinus to the nasal. So, if you take in the nose part, so on the nose part either superior or posterior or anterior have the some sinus. So, sinuses meaning the air space composed of bones. So, the frontal bone have the one sinus, ethmoid sinus, sphenoidal sinus and maxillary sinus. So, these are called as paranasal sinus. So, these paranasal sinuses are filled by the air. These air in the warm in nature, warm in moisture and filter incoming air. So, these air also main function and voice production also. So, if the sinuses are filled by the any infection material, nothing but during the cold conditions automatically some moisture, some water is accumulated in the frontal sinus, it might some sphenoid and maxillary sinuses, automatically the voices it will be disturbances. So, this is also resource to voice, that is why it is. So, is also communicated to be ciliated. So, just you remember the membrane it is made up of ciliated columnar epithelium. So, already one we can discuss about entire other infection diseases in another PPT. So, these are the frontal sinuses, these are the ethmoid sinuses and sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone sinuses is yellow color. Next to maxillary sinuses. So, these sinuses are air filled. So, it is composed of bones only. So, this is the effect. So, pharynx, the pharynx is a tube 12 to 14 centimeters long and extends from the base of the skull to the level of the sixth cervical vertebra. It lies behind the nose, mouth and larynx and is wider at its upper end. Common space used by the both the respiratory and digestive system, commonly called throat also. Okay. Commonly pathway for both the air and food. So, the pharynx it is a common pathway. The main functions of the pharynx is passageway for air and food, warming and humidifying the air, taste, hearing, protection, and speech. These are all functions of pharynx. And also in the pharynx, we can also observe the uvula. Also pharynx, oropharynx, nasopharynx, laryngopharynx, it is divided. So in the oropharynx, if you observe the uvula present, this uvula main function is to close the nostrils, to protect the food particles enter into the nose. The uvula, it acts as a one valve. It acts as a one valve to protect the food particles enter into the nose. So that is the main function of the uvula. So oropharynx, laryngopharynx, and nasal pharynx. So these are the we can divide it up pharynx. So if you take in larynx, so extend from the level of 4th to 6th cervical vertebra, attached to the hyoid bone superiorly, inferiorly to continuous with the trachea. So the main three functions produces the vocalization speech and provides open air. So the main the voice box, larynx is the main voice because of the here the vocal cords also present. So what is vocal cords we can discuss. So these are the functions closed during the swallowing, opening during breathing. So the larynx is composed of several irregular shaped cartilages to each other. So that cartilages contacted or attached by the ligaments and membranes. So the main cartilages are one thyroid cartilage, one carcoid cartilage, two retinoid cartilage, one epiglottis. So we can see the next slide. So what is these cartilages? So first three, if you take in thyroid, cricoid, and retinoid cartilages, it is made up of hyaline cartilage. Already in first semester we discussed about the cartilage, hyaline cartilage, and elastic cartilage. So the epiglottis, it is made up of elastic cartilage. If you take in the epiglottis, it is made up of elastic cartilage. It is act as a lid. It acts as a lid. When the food material, if you take in from the mouth, it protects the or to close the bronchus. To close the bronchus. Then automatically the food material enter into the esophagus. So that is the main function of the epiglottis. It protects the food material not entering into the bronchus. That is main protection. If in case food material, if it is enter into the lungs, automatically we can get a cough. But like that we can get automatically we can expression, if you know already. So this is what are the, so that a hyoid bone and that bone linked with some by, see here the ligaments, so the larynx with the hyoid bone composed of different membranes. This if you take in thyroid membrane, this is epiglottis. This is what I said. It is like a leaf-like structure. It is made up of elastic cartilage. It is the main function is to protect the food particles enter into the. It does not enter into the food particles into the bronchus. So that is the thing. This is a thyroid cartilage, this is a retinoid cartilage, this is cricoid ligament, this is ligament, this is a cricoid ligament, this is a trachea. So this is the thing. This is one side and this is another side, same thing. Sound production. So already you know how the sound production by the vocal cords. So these are the vocal cords. Depending upon the influence of nervous system and contraction of these entire cartilages, the vocal cords will open. So here the larynx is the main function: production of sound, speech, protection of lower respiratory tract, passageway for air, humidifying, filtering and warming. So next, if you take in the trachea, so that this is trachea. So we can take say a flexible tube, also called as windpipe, extend through the mediastinum and lies anterior to the esophagus and inferior to the larynx. Anterior and lateral walls of the trachea supported by 15 to 20 C shaped tracheal cartilage. The cartilage rings reinforce and provide rigidity to the tracheal wall to ensure that the trachea remains open at all times. Always the trachea is open all times. So posterior part tube lined by the trachealis muscle. Posterior, not anterior, not anterior. So lined by the entire ciliated columnar epithelial tissue. Just you remember ciliated columnar epithelial tissue to the inner layer. This at the level of the sternal angle, the trachea bifurcates into two smaller tubes called as right and left primary branchus. Each primary branchus projects laterally towards the each larynx. See, this is trachea, this is primary branchus, this is secondary branchus, then after that segmental branchus, then after that terminal branchus, then after that branchioles, then after that alveoli. So these are the formation of how the branchus is divided into up to alveoli. So the branchus main function support and patency, mucociliary escalator. Why it is called mucociliary escalator? Why it is called the columnar epithelium tissue in the mucous layer. It is made up of a ciliated columnar epithelium tissue. It produces the mucus by the goblet cells. Already we discussed in GIT system. Here also the goblet cells secretes the mucus. This mucus always moisture condition, and also it produces the some lysozyme enzymes. Okay, and also this cough reflexes also produces by the trachea. So if any food particles, if it is entered into trachea, then automatically immediately it is a reflex. And also warming, humidifying and filtering of air. See, if any air, if it is entered into the nozzle, from nozzle starting also, it is warming and humidifying and filtering automatically, because of how it is warming. Your body temperature is 37 degrees centigrade. It means if you take the normal air, either 22 or 23 degrees centigrade. So if it is enter into in our nose, automatically it is converted into slowly, first 30, then after that 32, then after that 35, then after 37. It is reached automatically. It is warmidified. It is warming. Then humidifying means it is moisturized. See, your mucus layer have to secrete this mucus. This mucus have the moisture. Then automatically the air little bit will be moistured. That is humidifying. And filtering. See, any particles, if dust particles, if it is enter into the nose or larynx or pharynx or this trachea, this mucus automatically to stick to to the food particles to stick. The food particles or dust materials or any, if it is enter, it is stick to the mucus layer. So these food particles are dust particles. If it is stick in the mucus, after that their phagocytes are attacked to the dust particles or bacteria or any attacked and engulf that particle and it will destroy it. So that is the way of our immunity system to work. So next, if you take in bronchioles, if you take in the two branchials is already we discussed. See, the right bronchus, it is wider, shorter and more vertical. It is approximately 2.5 centimeters longer. After entering the right lung at the hilum, it is divided into three bronchus. So the right lung is wide when compared to left lung. It is big when compared to left lung. It is 3 lobes. So that's why 3 branches enter into the in 3 lobes. Therefore, 1 to each lobe. So each branch then subdivided into numerous smaller branches. On left hand, if you take in, this is 5 centimeters long. It is narrower. Here the branchus. So this is the long length. So this is the left branchus, if you take in 5 centimeters, but is narrower and the narrower than the right. This is wider. This is narrow. So after but length is different. Wide means big size. I think understand. So after entering the lung at the hilum, it is divided into 2 branches, 1 to each lobe. So the left branches have the 2 lobes. So each branch then subdivided into progressively small tubes within the lungs. So the branchus is composed of same. Whatever the trachea is made up of the smooth muscle. Then after that the ciliated epithelium tissue and mucous membranes. So these are the made up of the branchus. So that one also it is made. So the bronchioles means here so before that primary bronchus, secondary bronchus and the terminal bronchus, then the small terminal bronchioles, then respiratory bronchioles, then the alveolar ducts and finally alveoli. So this is how the structure. Primary bronchus, then after that this is primary bronchus, then after the secondary bronchus, this is segmental bronchus, then after bronchioles, then when it is, why it is called respiratory bronchioles, when it is all maximum it is the ducts. These respiratory bronchioles then form the lobules, then after that alveolar duct and alveolus. This is the formation. Function: warming and humidifying, support and patency, removal of a particular matter, cough reflexes, lungs. This is very important because of they given the mainly the special reference to lungs anatomy and physiology in our syllabus. So there are 2 lungs, one lying on each side of the middle in the thoracic cavity. They are cone shaped, described having an apex, base, costal surface and medial surface. Apex means so you can see this is apex, this is base, this is costal surface and medial surface. See, this is costal surface, this is medial surface. These are the so you can see the pleural consists of closed sac of a serous membrane which contains the smallest amount of serous fluid. The lungs is investigated into this sac so that it is forms 2 layers. One adheres to the lung and another to the wall of the thoracic cavity. So this is visceral. This is visceral pleura. This is parietal pleura. So between we can call as one space is one pleural cavity. So in that serous fluid present these zeros fluid maintaining the mechanical stress. Mechanical stress. This is a pleural and a pleural cavity. Next we can go for the. So this is regarding lungs. So the structure. So this is the way of taking. We have to take structure of the lungs. So this is a right lobe. So right lobe, so it is divided to 3. So this is so superior and inferior and middle lobe. Then if you take in the left, superior and inferior lobes only. This is cardiac notch. This is a cardiac notch because of the cardiac muscle to make the muscle to make some pressure, to create some notch here. So it is called as cardiac. If you take in here the diaphragm. So the contraction relaxation of a diaphragm to produce the respiration and inspiration. So it is mainly the contraction relaxation happen during respiration and inspiration. And also the ribs, between the ribs intercostal muscles present. So that intercostal muscles also involved during inspiration and expiration. So how lungs work? So air enters lungs, the system of pipes called bronchi. See, actually, if you take in the external environment pressure is 760 mm Hg, 760 mm Hg. During inspiration, during inspiration, the cardiac muscle contracted and coming downside, and also contracted coming downside, and the lungs widened. The lungs are widened. In the lungs, then when the lungs widened, volume increases. The lungs volume increases, and also pressure created in the lungs. Pressure created. That pressure is less when compared to the external environment pressure. So external environment pressure, I said that 760 mm Hg. Here in the lungs 759 mm Hg. That 1 mm differences makes the influx of automatically the air influx into the lungs. So during that moment, the diaphragm contraction coming downside, and the ribs, nothing but that rib cage entire here. See this. See here the rib cage, it is down, and the rib cage through the intercostal muscles. So by this way and this way, it is elongated. Then automatically what happen, the lung volume increases, the pressure decreases. When the volume increases, pressure decreases in the lungs, then automatically the outer air enter into the lungs. This is how the air enter into the lungs. Then after that, during exhalation, expiration. So in expiration, the relaxed diaphragm so coming upward side, and the lungs also coming narrower, and also the relaxation of intercostal muscle, the entire rib cage coming down. So if you take this is low, and this is so narrow of rib cage, and diaphragm also going upside. So because of this effect, automatically the volume of lungs, means the space is decreased, then automatically the pressure increased. Here the now 761 mm Hg, then automatically the air from the lungs to outside through the respiratory system. So this is the expiration, how the exchange of gases between the environment lungs takes place in inspiration and expiration. So this is the how the lungs. So then after oxygen enter into the alveoli, if you take in this part we can understand easily. So after the oxygenated during inspiration, if it is reached to the directly alveoli. So these alveoli, it is only made up of only ciliated, it is made up of columnar epithelium tissue, columnar epithelium tissue, and also it is consists of capillaries beds, capillary beds. So these entire these composed of one alveoli layer and one capillary layer. So here automatically through the diffusion mechanism, already what is the principle involved in the diffusion from higher concentration to lower concentration. So whatever the if we inspired air, whatever inspired air enter into the alveoli, it contains more oxygen, then automatically through the capillary bed and alveolar bed, it is enter into the blood. The oxygenated blood enter into the oxygenated air. Sorry, so don't confuse here. Once I am repeating, the oxygenated. So the oxygenated air, nothing but oxygen content, more oxygen content. It is enter into the blood. It is enter into the blood through the diffusion mechanism. And also whatever the in the deoxygenated in the blood, the blood has more carbon dioxide, it is enter into the alveoli. So from that carbon dioxide it is exhaled, that carbon dioxide exhaled. This is called as external respiration, external respiration. So we can also define as external respiration, exchange of gases between the alveoli and blood, alveoli and blood. So this is external respiration, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide. So oxygen from the alveoli to blood, from the blood carbon dioxide to alveoli. That carbon dioxide from the alveoli is through the exhale, So this is the process of how. So this is the so what is the breathing happen? Already we explained. So already during the inhalation the diaphragm contracts and the ribcage rises up. Expand the volume, the chest cavity. So this is the how we explained already. So this is the class. So thank you for watching.